What's up, guys? It's been a minute since I posted a video. Anyway, today, instead of talking about bikes, which we will be doing a lot of in 2026, got a whole roadmap planned for a couple series I want to do and just kind of deep dive in everything. But anyway, instead of talking about that today, we're going to focus on something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about my new 2025 Ram 1500 Warlock. Before we get into it, I'm going to give y'all just a little 180 around the truck here so you can see it. It's a little large, kind of hard to get into one frame here, but we're going to try. Got the little Warlock badge on the back. Got the dual exhaust. It's a sharp looking truck. So let's talk about why I chose the Ram. Primary reason for choosing this truck was just the price and the value. So I was originally looking at an F-150 STX with the FX4 package. Kind of a hard truck to find, and I just couldn't really get anybody to work the kind of deal that I was looking for. This truck wasn't even on my horizon. I didn't even know what a Warlock was. So after I couldn't get where I wanted to be on an STX, started doing some research, and that's how I came across this truck. So this truck originally listed for right under 58,000 USD. I ended up getting it for maybe a hair over 43,000. So I thought I got a heck of a deal, but I think that also just kind of reinforces the fact that all these trucks are quite overpriced at list price. In addition to price, what really sold me on the Ram was just process of elimination. So, you know, the Silverado would have been the first truck that I looked at. I'm a GM guy. I love Chevy trucks, but, you know, GM's got issues with the 6.2 and the 5.3, cylinder deactivation, lifter issues. Now they've got 10-speed issues. So in my opinion, the truck is just completely cursed. So then the next truck I looked at was the Tundra, which, as you know, has tons of engine issues right now that are still not sorted out. So that left me to the F-150 and the Ram. And looking at the F-150, I was looking at the 2.7 liter, considering the 5.0, but really kind of honed in on the 2.7. It's got the wet belt for the oil pump, which I've not really read of any failures with that, but I know it is technically a wear item. And then, of course, Ford's got the 10-speed. So outside of price, those were deterrents for me on the F-150, which led me to this truck. And for the 2025 model year, it was only available with the Hurricane, which, from all the research I've done, I know the early iterations had issues with like oil thermostat cracking, things like that. But I think in this truck, most of that stuff's been ironed out. So it's a pretty robust package that is extremely powerful, very torquey, very quick, and it's made it to the ZF8, which out of all the truck manufacturers right now, I would argue that that is the most bulletproof transmission out there. So like I said, price and powertrain are really what led me to the Ram. Now, what landed me on the Warlock, once I narrowed it down to the Ram being the truck that I wanted, is that it offered everything that I wanted in a truck and nothing extra. If you're not familiar with the Warlock package, I'm going to show you kind of all the exterior highlights that you get. So first thing, you get the dual exhaust tips, which I think look fantastic. You also get steel bumpers with a very robust metal coating. You get the 18-inch wheels with the 33-inch Duratrax. These are some beefy tires. Absolutely love them. So on the front side of the truck here, well, while we're going around, you also get the Bilstein 4600s. I don't know if you can see that there, but that gives you a 1-inch lift over factory height, which if you've seen any of these trucks, like in the Bighorn, Lone Star trims, seeing one next to this truck, this thing just looks beefier. It's got a really nice appearance, and I do like to do some off-roading, so that was a value add for me. On the front side here, front steel bumper, you get the tow hooks, recovery hooks, and on the 2025 model year, this matches the bumper finish, which I really like. I know for 2026 they moved to a high gloss black on this, which up against this, I mean, it's okay, but kind of an odd styling choice. And then one other thing too with the Warlock for 2025 only, you've got the SST badge here, whereas for 2026, now that the Hemi's available, you see specified either the Hurricane or the Hemi. few other important things to highlight too with the Warlock package specifically. This one's option with the 355 rear end gears, which I wanted. You know, 392s probably would have been a smarter move because I do plan to go up to 35s. Gonna go with 285, 75, 18s. So that would have effectively geared me down to a 373. But for now, I think this is a good blend of efficiency and towing capability because I don't tow anything really heavy. Another thing I wanted y'all to see underneath here, you got steel skid plates everywhere. You got a fuel tank skid, you got a transfer case skid, you've got cross member, all that up in the front. So tons of steel skids underneath here. So touching on some more of the off-road stuff. Let's see if y'all can see here. So you don't have four-wheel auto with the Warlock because this has the heavier duty transfer case. So this was actually something that I preferred. It's a little more robust. You also get kind of a off-road cruise control, and most importantly, you get that electronic rear diff locker. That was very, very important to me. If you're gonna do any kind of wheeling, this is a non-negotiable. A quick rundown of the tech package in here. So you've got auto headlamps, which I was excited to see coming from a 30-year-old car. You also have adaptive high beam assist, which I was very surprised to see on here. Analog gauge cluster, which I absolutely love. I did not want a fully digital instrument cluster. I was very surprised to see adaptive cruise standard. I don't love adaptive cruise, but like I said, surprised to see that on this trim level of truck. Smaller screen, which I wanted. In my opinion, less tech is more. That is what I wanted in a truck. In the back here, you've got an electronic rear sliding window. Also kind of surprised to see that. And one of my favorite things, it is a 6-seater, which in the first couple of weeks that I had the truck, I actually utilized all 6 seats. So it fits perfectly. You've also got, you can't really see with the truck turned off, but you can turn off your front and rear parking sensors from here. You got a tow haul button here, tons of plugs. You got a 3-prong plug down here. You've got all your aux cables and USB-C, standard USB down here. Tons of storage space inside. This folds up. You've got additional storage space. I'm not gonna fold it up right now, but just trust me, there's a lot there. Tons of space in the second row. I mean, just absurd. Seats go up very easily, go down very easily. Underneath the cover here, you also have the little integrated storage boxes, which I just love. They've got little measurements there. You can remove these cores. So if you got something that's melting in them, you can dump them out. Super handy. Now I'm gonna breeze through what I love about this truck just because there's a lot and I'd be talking forever. So while we're talking about that though, I'm gonna go ahead and turn the truck on so y'all can see how quiet it is. And let's talk about that first. One of my favorite things about the truck is how quiet it is. I mean, it is truly silent, especially once the idle drops. It's cold right now, so we're gonna be idling pretty high, but it quiets down a lot. I think it's got dual pane glass, just a very silent overall package. Obviously love all the Warlock off-road goodies. That was a big motivator for me in buying this truck. Extremely reliable wireless Apple CarPlay. So if you've never experienced wireless CarPlay, a lot of systems disconnect as you drive past certain areas on your commute, right? So my understanding is that as there's a cell tower handoff, that's when the system will disconnect and try to reestablish connection. This has never done that to me, and it's one of the first systems that I've experienced that does not do that. So that is awesome. Another thing I really like about the truck is I'm just so surprised by how much is standard on the truck. You know, as I touched on earlier, you've got adaptive cruise, you've got wireless CarPlay, you've got lane keeping assist, parking sensors, backup camera, blind spot assist, rear sliding window. I mean, it's got a lot of really cool stuff that you wouldn't necessarily expect on a budget trim truck. This particular one was optioned with a 33-gallon tank, which was something that was a non-negotiable for me. I think the standard is a 26-gallon tank, but the 33-gallon tank is awesome. Another thing I love, the Hurricane motor. I mean, listen how quiet it is. It's just silent. And the power delivery is phenomenal. So you got 420 crank horses, 469 foot-pounds of torque, comes on at like 3,500 RPM. It is peaky in terms of horsepower. I think it makes peak power 100 RPM under redline, so you do have to get it up there to really send it, but in terms of towing, it's all there. Another thing that I love about the truck is the ride quality. So unlike a lot of the competitors, it has rear coil springs, which I think makes for a very smooth ride. That paired to the 4600 Bilsteins, I mean, it's shockingly smooth. It was also very refreshing to see Ram introduce that temporary 10-year, 100,000 mile powertrain warranty for the model year 26 truck. That gave me all the confidence I needed to buy this 25. This was one of the last 25s that I could find in my area, and quite frankly, I was just looking for a good deal. But I think that's a true testament to how much Ram believes in this powertrain, and that's truly what's most important to me. Something I don't see talked about often too in reviews of this truck is how awesome the gauge cluster customization is. So you can come in here, you can see all this information, I'm a sucker for data. This is how I drive at all times. I've got direction of travel. I can see I've got my gear indicator, mileage, voltage, range, time, speed at the top, and then in the center there, you know, you got coolant, trans temp, oil pressure, which is huge. Coolant temps down on the side. But you can go in here, let's see, and you can set up what's in every single one of the corners, what's top center. I mean, you can dial this thing in exactly how you want it, which I love. I think that's spectacular. So the last huge plus, in my opinion, is check out this oil drain plug and filter access point. I mean, they are so simple to get to, and it's so easy to change, and you don't have to jack the truck up. There's plenty of clearance to get underneath here and do it. So for you guys, if you're like me, if you like to do your own oil changes, I mean, this is just a dream. But you can see, you know, if you've never seen underneath one of these things, here's your skid, very beefy setup here. You got your downpipes. They run into a little Y and then run all the way back. But just love how accessible this is. Now let's talk about things that I don't like about the truck. You might have already noticed the first thing, but take a look. 14.5 miles per gallon, and that's got a fair amount of highway miles on it. And I know what you're thinking, why did you buy an off-road truck if you care about fuel economy? I don't care a ton, but I do care enough. You know, when the window sticker says 18 in town, 24 highway, and around town you're getting high 12s, low 13s, that's a pretty significant swing. So I was surprised to see that from the Hurricane. Now some other things. I've got a weird rattle kind of in here. Already had some felt tape put up here by the Ram dealership because they thought it was the center speaker, but I think it's down here, but see if you can hear it. There's a weird rattle deep inside there, and when I'm on a bumpy road, and I think because the truck is so quiet, it makes you hyper aware of rattles, but on a bumpy road, it's something. Just a little QC complaint, not a huge deal, and I'm sure I'll get it tracked down, but the rattle bothers me. I've had a weird little third gear issue too. So first and second gear, buttery smooth. Third gear, you know, as I'm accelerating, it's fine, but the situation I'm running into is as I'm decelerating, coming up on like a left or a right turn, and the truck's dropping down into fourth, then it drops into third. When I go to reapply throttle, the revs will shoot up to like 2,000 RPMs, like the torque converter's not locking up, and then it'll lock out at like 1,200 RPMs. And I took it in to the Ram dealership for that. Apparently there was a service bulletin. We reset the transmission. It did help a little bit, but I'm noticing it's still doing it. So I don't know if that's by design or not, but it was something that was of concern for me. Some other little gripes that I have inside here. I don't know if you can see. There's no volume button back here. I have no idea why that's where they chose to cut corners. Like, you could have left off adaptive cruise, but no volume button for the infotainment system is crazy to me. On top of that, you don't have dual climate, which I'm someone who always uses the auto function on my AC system. I didn't think this was gonna be a huge deal, but it does drive me nuts, honestly, because I'm constantly having to fiddle with these knobs. Another thing too, not a huge deal, but it doesn't have garage door openers. or gate buttons, which, you know, I don't mind carrying these, but just a small little thing to nitpick. Now my final dislike on this truck, and this is a big one. When I did my oil change, so I subscribe to the 500, 1500, 3000, 5000 mile oil change intervals just in the beginning. I think there's a lot of contaminants in there and it's good to flush them out. So anyway, I changed my oil at 677 miles. Didn't do the filter, just did the oil, flushed a quart through, and when I looked at the pan, I'll see if I can insert a photo into the video here, I found some shavings. Now I don't know if that's because it was, you know, some casting metals. I don't know if those came out of the threads from when the drain plug was pulled out. I don't know if there was metal on top of the cross member that the oil was spilling over as it was going into the pan. I don't know, but that was my initial findings, and to me it was concerning. You know, I know motors will have a little bit of metal in the oil when you do that first oil change, but these were some pieces that are a little larger than I'd like to see. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that. We're at like 1,030 miles right now. Once I hit 1,500, I'm gonna do another oil change. I've already got a Mopar oil filter ready to go, so I am going to cut open that original one and we'll see how that looks. So stay tuned. I'm hoping we don't see a lot of metal in there, but we shall see. On top of that, you know, I see a lot of complaints about this being a very complex engine, which, yeah, it kind of is. You know, I'm glad it's an inline six. You got one cylinder head to work with. That's not a huge deal. But you've got water-cooled turbos. So there is a ton of plumbing. You know, you got two different cooling circuits here. So you've got a cooling circuit for the turbos and then a cooling circuit for everything else. So that does concern me a little bit. There's a lot of plastic too. Intake manifold, all that's plastic. Not a huge deal. Most modern cars are that way, but just something that, you know, I do think about down the road. But other than that, I'm pretty excited to see what ownership is like with this truck. So the question you're probably wondering is, if I could do it again, would I buy this truck again? And the answer is absolutely. I love this truck. It's my first truck. I've only ever owned cars. Like I said, I'm coming from this, you know, nearly 30-year-old diesel Benz that's as simple as it gets. But as far as a truck goes, I mean, this thing is smoother than I ever expected it to be. It's quieter, it's quicker. The space is just insane. You know, you can put so much just in the cab alone, you know, let alone all the bed space you have. But I'm just blown away with it. Very impressed. Love the packaging of the Warlock. Yes, you know, some people think this is a little gimmicky, but shoot, everybody's doing it. Ram's got it, Ford's got, you know, the trimmer, the FX4. It's just something that you just kind of have to embrace, you know? And yeah, they did cut some corners in places. Like, why this isn't covered, I don't know. They could have spent the extra $100 and covered it, but there's some small stuff here and there. You know, it's had a couple of little electrical gremlins, which is par for the course for a Chrysler product. But overall, absolutely love it, and I cannot wait to tow with it for the first time. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and next time we will be back on bikes. Take care.